The alarm didn't scream. It just glowed, 5:47 a.m. in that cold blue digital light that somehow feels like an accusation. And the sound wasn't really a sound. It was more like a question your body already knew the answer to before your mind could form the words. Are you ready to do this again? I lay there for maybe 12 seconds. Maybe 12 minutes. Time does this weird thing when anxiety is already sitting on your chest like a cat that's decided you're not getting up. You know that weight? Not the physical kind. The invisible one. The one that's made of unread emails, a conversation you've been avoiding, a bill sitting on the counter you've flipped face down 3 times, and this low-grade dread that you're falling behind in a race nobody explained the rules to. The room was still dark except for that one yellow lamp I forgot to turn off last night. On the desk, a coffee mug from yesterday. Stone cold. A thin film on top. I stared at it like it was some kind of metaphor for my soul, which, honestly, it kind of was. Lukewarm. Leftover. The dregs of whatever energy I had yesterday, now just sitting there, waiting to be either reheated or thrown out. And here's the part where I'm supposed to tell you I'm a pastor or a spiritual giant or someone who wakes up at 4 a.m. to pray for 3 hours before the sun rises. That's not me. I'm just a person who has had too many mornings where getting out of bed felt like a faith decision I wasn't sure I had the strength to make. I know what it's like to hear birds outside your window, actual birds, doing their little dawn chorus thing, and feel absolutely nothing. The sun's coming up, the world's waking up, and inside you it's still midnight. That contrast is brutal, isn't it? Creation is out there singing, and you're lying there wondering if God forgot your address. Let me ask you something. And don't answer out loud. Just let the question sit there. Have you ever smiled at a coworker while something inside you was screaming? Have you ever said, I'm fine, just tired, when what you actually meant was, I'm running on fumes and faith feels like a language I used to speak fluently but now I'm not sure I remember the words? Have you ever whispered, maybe not even with your lips, just in that deep place behind your thoughts, Lord, I cannot do this anymore, and then 5 minutes later you got up and did it anyway because people were depending on you? That's the mirror moment. That's where I see you. That's where I see myself. Not in the victory. In the getting up. In the choosing to breathe when breathing feels heavy. Here's something I'm learning, slowly, the hard way, the way you learn things by failing at them repeatedly until the lesson finally sticks. Peace is not waiting for you at the end of the solved problem. It's not the reward you get when the inbox hits 0, when the relationship heals, when the money shows up, when the diagnosis comes back clean. Peace, the real kind, the kind that doesn't make sense on paper, is a choice you make before any of that happens. It's a decision to stop, right in the middle of the chaos, and let God be God for 60 seconds before you try to be God for the next 16 hours. I've started calling it the holy pause. Sounds fancy. It's not. It's just me, standing by my bed at 5:49 a.m., coffee still cold on the desk, and not reaching for my phone. Not yet. Not until I've done the one thing my anxiety hates, been still. Jesus said something that I used to read like a nice poem until life backed me into a corner and I had no choice but to test whether it was actually true. He said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you." That's John 14 verse 27. And I used to skim past that verse because it sounded too soft, too abstract. But look at what he's actually saying. He's making a distinction. There's a peace the world offers, and it always comes with conditions. You get peace when the problem is fixed. You get peace when the threat is gone. You get peace when you've earned it, achieved it, purchased it, secured it. The world's peace is a transaction. You pay with certainty, and you receive calm as your change. But Jesus says, my peace doesn't work like that. His peace doesn't wait for the storm to end. It walks right into the middle of the storm, sits down next to you, and says, "We're going to be okay, not because the wind stopped, but because I'm here." That's a different kind of peace. That's the kind that shows up at 5:47 a.m. when your heart is already racing before your feet have touched the floor. That's the kind that doesn't demand you fix everything first. It just asks you to receive it. Like a gift. Like something you didn't earn and can't lose. So here's the question I'm sitting with, and I want you to sit with it too. What would happen if, today, before you checked your email, before you read the messages, before you opened your mouth to say, "I'm fine," to someone who doesn't actually want the real answer, what if you paused? What if you took 60 seconds and said, "Lord, I receive your peace." Not the world's peace. Not the peace that depends on everything going right. Your peace. Right now. In the middle of this mess. Before anything changes. Before I've earned it. Before I understand it. That's not wishful thinking. That's an act of faith. A small one. Almost invisible. Nobody would even know you're doing it. But it's the kind of choice that shifts something in the spiritual realm before anything shifts in the physical one. But this peace requires a choice, an act of faith before the day begins. And here's where the story takes a turn I didn't see coming. Because the peace I talked about, the 60-second pause, the holy breath before the inbox, that's not passive. It's not a spa day for your soul. It's a declaration of war. War on the lie that says you're alone. War on the voice that whispers you'll never make it. War on the fear that's been squatting in your mind rent-free for years. So I'm standing there at 5:47 a.m., coffee still cold, and I realize, receiving peace isn't just receiving peace. It's an act of defiance. A prophetic act of faith. The kind where you look at your circumstances, the unpaid bill on the counter, the text message you're dreading to open, the diagnosis you're still processing, and you say, "This is not the final word. God's promise is. And I want you to do something with me right now. Not later. Not when you feel ready. Now." In the comments below, I want you to write these words: "Today, I receive God's peace, hope, and strength." Don't just type it like you're filling out a form. Type it like you're signing a treaty. Because that's what you're doing. You're drawing a line in the sand of your soul and telling fear, "You don't get to run this show anymore." Let me be brutally honest with you. This is not a magic trick. Writing those words won't make the bill disappear. It won't heal the relationship overnight. It won't erase the memory of what happened in that hospital room. But it will shift something in the spiritual realm. It's you, planting your flag in the territory of trust and saying, "I belong to the God who parts seas, not the God of panic attacks." That's what a prophetic act does. It aligns your mouth with God's promise before your eyes can see the proof. But can I tell you where I've been living lately? Because it's not pretty. And maybe you've been there too. There are mornings, and I'm talking about the 3 a.m. kind, not the 5:47 kind, where I just lie there, staring at the ceiling. The fan makes this clicking sound. Click. 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 Like a metronome counting down my sanity. And I whisper, not even a prayer, just a question: "God, are you even here? Do you see this? The bills. The rejection emails. That one comment someone made 3 days ago that I can't stop replaying. Does any of this matter to you?" I'm not proud of those moments. But I'm learning they're not the opposite of faith. They're the raw material faith is built from. See, I used to think faith meant never doubting. Never asking hard questions. Never feeling the weight. But that's not faith. That's denial. Faith isn't pretending the storm isn't real. Faith is looking at the storm and saying, "My God is in this with me." There was this one morning. I was sitting in my car in a hospital parking lot. You know the kind of parking lot, the one where the lines are faded, the trees are scraggly, and the air smells like antiseptic and exhaust fumes. I'd just gotten news I didn't want. And I sat there, hands on the steering wheel, not even driving. Just sitting. And I said out loud, "Lord, I don't feel you. I don't see you. But I'm going to trust you anyway. Not because I'm strong. Because I'm not. I'm trusting you because you're strong." And that's when it hit me. God wasn't in the wind that morning. He wasn't in the earthquake of my emotions. He was in the still, small voice that said, "I've got this. Even when you don't." The Bible talks about this. Isaiah chapter 40, verses 30 and 31. It says even young people get tired. Even the strong stumble. But those who wait on the Lord, those who actively hope, who bind their expectations to His character, they get fresh strength. They soar on wings like eagles. They run and don't get winded. They walk and don't give out. Now listen closely. That promise isn't saying you'll never face a marathon. It's saying you'll get supernatural stamina for the race you're already in. It's not a promise of a problem-free life. It's a promise of a presence-filled life. The pressure in front of you, that thing that's been keeping you up at night, is not bigger than the grace in God's hand. That's a memorable truth I want you to hold on to. The pressure in front of you is not bigger than the grace in God's hand. Maybe you're in your own parking lot right now. Maybe it's not a hospital. Maybe it's your kitchen table, littered with bills. Maybe it's your office, after everyone's gone home, and you're staring at a screen that feels like a brick wall. Maybe it's your bedroom, with the door closed, and you're holding back tears because you don't want your kids to see you break. That's your parking lot. And I want you to know, God meets people in parking lots. He doesn't wait for the stained glass windows. He shows up in the silence. In the exhaustion. In the honest whisper that says, "Lord, I need you. I can't carry this anymore." Here's what I'm discovering: God isn't put off by your weakness. He's drawn to it. The people who pretend they have it all together. They don't need a savior. But the ones who admit they're running on fumes, they're the ones who get to experience His power. So if today you feel depleted, if your body got out of bed but your soul is still under the covers, you're exactly where God can do His best work. But here's the tension I'm still wrestling with. And maybe you are too. How do you actually receive that strength when the feelings haven't changed? How do you trust the promise when the parking lot still looks the same? How do you soar when your wings feel clipped? That question has been chasing me for weeks. And I'm starting to find an answer, but it's an answer that requires more than just knowing. It requires a kind of surrender that feels terrifying and liberating at the same time. Because sometimes the most powerful prayer isn't shouted, it's whispered from the depths. And maybe that's the whole point I've been missing. Surrender isn't waving a white flag of defeat. It's handing over the steering wheel to the only one who actually knows the road. It's whispering into the silence of a parking lot, "I can't, but you can." And that whisper, it doesn't bounce off the ceiling. It reaches the throne room of heaven. So here's what I want to invite you into right now. Not a sermon. Not another thing to add to your to-do list. An invitation. A holy moment, right where you are. Close your eyes. Right here. Right now. Take a deep breath, not a shallow one, not the kind you take when you're just surviving. Breathe in deep, all the way to the bottom of your lungs, and as you exhale, let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let the weight you've been carrying roll off your back, even if it's just for these next 60 seconds. Because this is a sacred space now. Not because of the room. Because of the invitation. Heavenly Father, I come before you now, not polished, not put together, not with the right words or the right posture. I come as someone who is tired. Deep down, bone-weary tired. The kind of tired that coffee can't fix and sleep can't reach. And I bring you my mind, the thoughts that race at 3 a.m., the worries that loop like a broken record, the what-ifs that steal my peace before my feet even hit the floor. I can't quiet them on my own. So I hand them to you. Every single one. I bring you my heart, the disappointments I've never spoken out loud, the grief I carry silently like a stone in my pocket, the hopes that have been deferred so long they've started to feel like a cruel joke. You see the tears I've cried when no one was watching. You know the questions I'm afraid to ask. And I bring you my body, this vessel that's running on fumes, the exhaustion that no amount of rest seems to touch, the physical toll of carrying stress I was never meant to carry alone. And Lord, I bring you everything I cannot control. The bills sitting on the counter. The diagnosis I'm still processing. The relationship that feels like it's held together by threads. I lay them at your feet, not because I'm good at letting go, but because my knuckles are white from gripping them, and I'm finally admitting I don't have the strength to hold on anymore. So today, right now, in this moment, before the phone buzzes, before the inbox fills up, before the day demands another ounce of me, I surrender. I release my need to understand everything. I release my fear that things won't work out. I release the lie that says it all depends on me. And I receive. I receive your peace, not the fragile peace the world gives, the kind that shatters the moment circumstances shift. I receive your peace that surpasses all understanding. The peace that stands guard over my heart and my mind in Christ Jesus. I don't need to feel it for it to be real. I receive it by faith. I receive your hope, not wishful thinking, not crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. I receive a confident, unshakable expectation that you are faithful. That you keep your promises. That the story isn't over just because this chapter is hard. And I receive your strength, the supernatural kind that shows up when mine runs out. The strength that is made perfect in my weakness. Not my own power. Yours. Flowing through these tired bones and this weary soul. And here's the truth I'm taking with me into this day, the memorable truth I want you to carry like a compass in your pocket: today is not bigger than your God. Whatever's waiting for you out there, the hard conversation, the impossible deadline, the news you're dreading, it is not bigger than the one who already went ahead of you. He's not waiting at the finish line, tapping his watch. He's walking beside you. He's preparing the road before you. And he's already in every room you're about to enter. John chapter 14, verse 27, Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." That's not a suggestion. It's a gift. And it's already yours. Isaiah chapter 40, those verses I keep coming back to, they promise that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Notice it doesn't say they'll never have to run. It says they'll get supernatural stamina for the race. That's the God we serve. He doesn't always remove the marathon. He gives you the lungs to run it. So here's your action step, not just a comment, though I'd love for you to type "I receive your peace" in the comments as a declaration of faith. But more than that, I want to challenge you to something practical. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you check the notifications, before the world rushes in, take 5 minutes. Just 5. A holy pause. Sit in the quiet. Breathe. Whisper, "Lord, I receive your peace for this day." Let that be the first thing your soul hears, not the demands of the world. That's not a religious ritual. That's warfare. That's you planting your flag and saying, I will not be defined by my circumstances. I will be defined by my God. Walk into today not as a victim of your situation. Not as someone barely surviving. Walk in as a warrior equipped by grace. You don't have to be strong. You just have to stay close to the one who is. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to trust the one who does. The pressure in front of you is real, I'm not minimizing it. But the grace in God's hand is greater. Always has been. Always will be. May the Lord bless your mind with calm in the chaos. May He anchor your heart with hope in the waiting. May He strengthen your body for today's journey, whatever it holds. Go in peace, not because the storm has stopped, but because the God of peace goes with you. The parking lot may still look the same. The bills may still be on the counter.